Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon in Arizona, and I am sad I won't be with all my hard-working colleagues at tonight's Game 6 of the Finals in Indiana.
I'm Frank Isola. One of those colleagues is here in studio because you need a co-host.
Oh, but that's on that other guy. I can't be everywhere. I can't be in Arizona
game for me tonight.
And in the studio.
I got to bail you out again.
No, you're bailing him out, not me. And we'll get to that. I promise. But I know we both like to be in Indianapolis tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome to PTI. Tony could only handle 3 shows this week. So here, out of the bullpen, is our great friend from the starting lineup on Sirius XM, Mr. Frank Isola.
There. Wow. Live studio audience today. Live.
That's a finals sort of welcome there. I'm kind of jealous. Let's start, speaking of, with tonight's Game 6 of the NBA Finals. With the Thunder 1 win from the title, Shams reports that unless there's a pregame setback, Pacers star Tyrese Halliburton plans to play on that strained right calf. Frank, what are the chances you're giving Indy to push this series back to OKC for Game 7?
I hope we get a Game 7. The chances improve, obviously, with Halliburton playing. How effective he's going to be, Mike, who knows? He needs to play better than he did the other night. I give him credit for being out there. I can't believe he got criticized for being out there and playing. This is what guys do at this time of year. Michael Jordan played with the flu. Willis Reed limped out on the court, so he's trying to play. But the way that Oklahoma City played the other night, what they did in the fourth quarter of Game 4, and I think that's where the series shifted. Remember, Indiana was up 10, 14 minutes to go in that game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander takes over. Defensively, they took over. They win Game 4. They take care of business in Game 5. Indiana's had a great run, Mike, but they had never trailed yet in a series. They hadn't lost 2 in a row until this point. I think right now Oklahoma City's proven they're the better team. I think they get it done tonight.
Yeah, Frank, I would love to disagree with you, and I'm not. Because like you, we are creatures of drama. And we love drama in sports. And how do you get a drama in the NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball? You get a Game 7. And so I'd like that, particularly in your championship round. I'd love to see that, but I don't think we're going to see it. I don't. A 1-10. I don't know. Maybe I give Indiana, even though they're playing at home. And I thought they should have been up 3-1 in this series. They had a chance to be, and maybe this turned out differently. But I might give them a 2. But that's it. I think the 2 things are at work. One, Halliburton, who I flat out admire for going out there and playing. And anybody who's critical of that effort, to me, is
ridiculous.
A fool.
Ridiculous.
And I don't want to see them in front of me because I might take a swing at them. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear it. So Halliburton has my admiration for playing. You remember when Isaiah Thomas scored 25 points in the third quarter?
The anniversary was the other day.
On an ankle so huge you couldn't even get a shoe on.
Yep.
So people should shut up. Athletes are to be admired when they do these kinds of things. But it doesn't mean I think Halliburton can play with that level of effectiveness that's going to really push his team to a point where they can overcome this 2-headed monster now of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and J-Dub. It's too much. Plus, with all the support, the ensemble cast that Oklahoma City has put together, and they now know, they've studied enough of recent history to know we need to take these dudes out. We don't need to let them have any life. And you do that by winning on the road. We've seen that's how teams become great championship teams. And I want to see a Game 7, but I don't think I'm going to see one.
You know, and also the criticism of Halliburton for playing, number one, you had people saying he was trying to be the hero. He took 1 shot in the second half.
Stupid. It's just they're fools.
They cut the deficit to 2, and Andrew Nembhard, who's been great, especially defensively, he had 3 mindless turnovers in that fourth quarter. He missed
Bad
2
turnovers.
Agreed. And what we've seen, and you just touched on it, the breakout star of the finals, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the MVP. We expected him to play well. But Jalen Williams getting 40 points, and you just see the confidence that he has. He's so darn good. I expect them to close it out tonight. All right, let's dig back into the Buss family selling the Lakers to Mark Walter in a deal that values the team at $10 billion. That's billion with a B. Luka Doncic, who can be a free agent next summer, supported the move this morning, posting that he looks forward to winning championships, that's plural, together. Under Walter's ownership, the Los Angeles Dodgers, Mike, they've made the playoffs every year, won the NL West in 11 of 12 seasons, appeared in 4 World Series, and they've won 2 of them. So, Mike, is it fair to expect Walter to improve the Lakers the way that he did the Dodgers?
Yeah. I don't care what Luka Doncic tweets. There's been way too much attention paid to that. What else is he supposed to say? I'm looking forward to third place finishes. And people need to just get a grip.
Yep.
And not everything is a big deal. Luka Doncic's tweets are no deal. Now, to go back to this ownership change, this is what Mark Walter does. And I'm not getting into the specifics of my bias in his favor. I know and respect him greatly. And this is what he does, not just in his sports projects, but other projects I'm aware of that I'm not going to get into. This is what happens on his watch, under his leadership, and with his group coming in. First of all, we're talking about a level of money. All the families and people who own sports franchises are rich in the normal terms that most people live their lives. And then some are richer and richest and richer yet. And the resource.
They can't even trade a first-round pick. The next one they could trade is either in 2031 or 32. So they're trying to improve, but they don't have as many assets. And if LeBron opts into his contract, we all expect that to happen, they could spend $5.7 million on a mid-level exception. So it's the assets. They still have to, acquire draft picks. They have to get under the cap eventually to try to get players. The one thing that he's got the Laker brand. It's in L.A. That jersey means something to a lot of people. There's a reason why every decade the Lakers get great players, whether it's Kareem, whether it's Kobe, Shaq, and then, of course, now, most recently, LeBron and Luka Doncic. What they'll do is the infrastructure around it. When Ty Lue comes in and they want to hire Ty Lue and he's looking for big money, Mark Walter's going to pay that money. He's not going to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it. So I think in the long run it'll help. But I think the one thing that people need to remember, it still is the Lakers, and I get it. They've only won one title since 2013. A lot of teams would sign up to win one title since 2013. So the way it's been run has been great. My question to you would be, there's a couple of basketball guys that are with the Dodgers, Stan Kasten and a guy that you know pretty well,
guy named
Magic
Irvin
Johnson.
Yeah.
So you tell me, what's going to happen? Are they going to come down the street and be part of the Lakers?
He's going to have all the resources at his disposal, from infrastructure to just the appeal of this global brand that it seemed like it was, the evaluation was $6 million a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And now it's $10 billion. $10 billion. Yes, to all your questions with what's going to happen with the Lakers, yes. And part of it, Frank, don't forget, is just judgment.
Yeah.
Right? The best in scouting, the best in
Analytics.
awareness, all the things you can
Medical
have at
staff.
your disposal to be better with who you've got. Not to necessarily go out and get another player, but how about the players who are available to you? Just,
right.
Other teams better be better beware. And now, to the curious decisions being made by Ace Bailey ahead of next week's NBA draft. Bailey reportedly canceled his visit with the Sixers, who hold the third overall pick. In fact, the Rutgers star has yet to visit with any clubs, despite predictions that he could go anywhere from third to eighth. So, Frank, how you making sense of what Bailey is doing 6 days from the draft?
To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He was a good college player, not a great college player. He and Dylan Harper were on a team that went 15-17. So they forget about getting to the tournament, going to a Final Four. They didn't even have a winning record. So now you're hearing that his camp, and I hear a lot of this is coming, mostly from the agent. They say they see him as a top 3 player. Well, the Sixers have the third pick. So why wouldn't you want to meet with them? And then you're hearing he sees a clear path to stardom. And if he goes to a team like the Wizards, he sees an easier path. Mike, you've covered the NBA a long time. What is easy about being a star in the NBA? You're being somewhat delusional. If you went to a place like Philadelphia, first of all, well coached with Nick Nurse, you have good players. You might be playing in important games right from the start.
I think
his approach to this is it's not the right way to do it. I'll give you a little history lesson, too. Remember the kid Jackson from Kansas, Josh Jackson? The Celtics wanted to meet with him. They were flying to the West Coast for a workout. He canceled it. So they said, all right, well, we're not going to draft him. We'll draft Jason Tatum instead. We know where Tatum is.
Judgment.
Where's Jackson
Speaking
today?
of good judgment.
Yeah.
Look, I'm in a crotchety mood today, so I'm going to call this what it is. It's stupid, okay? Him and his advisors. And I saw what was being leaked about stardom.
Give me a break.
What that is just egomania. I hope it's the people above him who are stupidly advising him, or so it appears to me, and not him. And I hope he can separate himself from such stupid advice that he's going to come in and he's more worried about his own stardom than becoming a good and then a great player and contributing to a team. Philadelphia is a team that with health could turn things around. You could be part of something. Instead, Frank, you know, and you're close to somebody that you host a podcast with sometimes, that we are aware of AAU culture.
Yeah.
And the notion that you can be a star. I want to be a star.
Yep.
And in the pros, I don't want that kid anywhere near me until he can change his attitude or until he can look with some maturity at the dopes advising him, saying, I don't need to be a part of that. So this whole approach, maybe it was misguided, maybe it's overstated, maybe I'll leave them a little room to turn and tuck and run. As stated as is, it's stupid and counterproductive. And if that person tried to advise me on anything, I would say, get the hell out now.
All right, couple of things. Number one, it's a radio show, not a podcast. Anybody can have a podcast. Here's what worries me about, not making the tournament. You could say it's not a big deal, but he did have Dylan Harper on his team as well. Like, I remember Markelle Fultz. Who's Markelle Fultz? He went 9-22 at Washington his 1 year. Even Ben Simmons, who was the number 1 overall pick. LSU that year went 19-14. This Rutgers team, and I get it, Ace Bailey, he's young, but you're going to come into the league and you want an easy path to stardom? It's the NBA.
Yeah, Frank,
You're going up against men.
I'm not even talking about not making it. Anybody can not make it. That's forgiven. The foolishness of talking about stardom before you even drafted.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The obnoxiousness.
Yep.
Somebody needs to turn it down in that camp right now.
You're right.
Time for a break.
Mike's fired
Coming up, we'll take a closer look at Frank's radio show, not his podcast, no. At LeBron's comments about ring culture being overstated.
And what's the word for tonight's match between the U.S. men and Saudi Arabia? Mike, how is that AAU culture? Sum it up in a few words, if you could.
I've seen parents arrested. Frank and I have written millions of words in our lives, so we got plenty to choose from. And what's the word? What's first?
LeBron's concerns about ring culture are blank.
Now, this is day 2 of us talking about LeBron and Steve Nash, and I believe their podcast, not their radio show.
Podcast, yes.
And talking about, ring culture. Frank and LeBron saying you can't just assign who's greatest by the number of championship rings. And, of course, we know that LeBron's got 4 of them, so does Steph Curry, but Michael Jordan's got 6 and Bill Russell's got 11 or whatever it is. Kobe and Shaq, 5 and 4 respectively. But the reason why, and LeBron is so thoughtful in these conversations, I'm lucky to have had many of them. He's always thoughtful. He's the most thoughtful guy out there. But when you have conversations with people over 20 years, you got to remember what you say. And because LeBron himself said that one right there, meaning the championship win with Cleveland over Golden State, made me the greatest of all time, that makes it worthless. My word is worthless.
Wow.
You can't come back later. You got to remember what you say. You and I have to remember what we say. So LeBron can say now you shouldn't do it, and I agree with him. But how does that square with what he said when he said it made me the greatest of all time? Because I won that one there. Worthless. That's what it is. It's as great as he is to talk to.
All right, mine is going to be revealing because I think he knows where he is. He's going to be 41 in December. He knows he's not going to get to 6. So all the guys that you mentioned, that means something to him. Kobe, Kareem, but there's about one guy. It's about Michael Jordan, who's got 6 of them. He probably knows he's not going to get that. So he's saying, if you're going to view greatest, don't just look at the rings. By the way, if it was a radio show, they could have gone back at him and said, hey, you said that after you won in Cleveland. That's the difference, Mike. But who are the people going around saying, like, if you haven't won a championship, you're not an all-time great? I think Dan Marino is. Your boy Ernie Banks is. Barry Bonds, Ted Williams, plenty of guys haven't won.
Barkley, Malone, Stockton.
Patrick Ewing.
Yes.
Yeah, Reggie
Ewing,
Miller, they were great
Ty
players. They didn't
Cobb,
win. A lot of
Reggie
things
Miller,
factor
yes.
into it. Absolutely.
We agree. And again, LeBron, I don't know how he got caught in that. Somebody needed to be able to say to him, hold on. How do you square that with? Because again, he's great to talk to. But you people with these podcasts, oh, wait, yours is a radio show.
That's right.
What's next?
The USA's Gold Cup match tonight against Saudi Arabia should be blank.
It should be tense, Frank.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you carry the balance of this because you're paying so much attention to this particular competition. And look, they just had a 5-0 win.
Yep.
But if you come back and you lose to Saudi Arabia, who's a guest in this thing, and what does Pochettino, how does he square that? And people are going to say, aha, that you need confirmation of the win by winning tonight, don't you?
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. That's why I'm going to say competitive, because the game against Trinidad and Tobago was not competitive. But I think what that win did, it tampered down some of the rhetoric surrounding the team. They played really well. Alex Freeman, the son of former Green Bay Packer, Antonio Freeman was really good. Diego Luna was good. Malik Tillman. But Saudi Arabia, remember, in 2022, they beat Argentina in the World Cup.
Yeah.
That was in the group stage. Now, Argentina went on to win the World Cup, so this is a good team.
They beat them.
And later that year, the U.S. ended up playing them, and it was a 1-1 draw. They played in Spain. Actually, that was before the World Cup. So Saudi Arabia is a talented team. It's going to be hot there in Austin. One thing to look out for, the manager of Saudi Arabia, Hervé Renard, that's the guy who looks like he should be, in Hollywood or something. And he'll wait till you see him. He's right out of central casting for a soccer manager. You'll appreciate it.
Frank, you're selling that. I mean, we got NBA. I got the Cubs in first place. I got a lot of stuff to watch.
At
I don't know how much bandwidth
at halftime
I've got available.
At halftime, you could change.
That's the final word. Let's take one last break, but still to come. Ime Udoka and the Houston Rockets appear to be happy with one another.
And the Yankees try to end their miserable 6-game losing streak. Miserable because
at least they
lost to the
scored.
Red Sox.
At least they scored last night. Happy people. Happy 47th birthday, Dirk Nowitzki. The Mavericks wished Dirk a happy one on their social media accounts today, which may be a sign of easing tensions. ESPN's Tim McMahon reported 2 months ago that Dirk was totally turned off by the franchise, especially after trading Luka Doncic to the Lakers. In fact, Nowitzki conspicuously attended Doncic's Lakers debut in LA. Dirk played his entire 21-year career with the Mavericks, winning one title and making the All-Star team 14 times.
Brilliant player, great guy. The statue of him outside their building is beautiful as well. When they got him on that draft day trade, it was a multi-team trade. They also got Steve Nash. How about getting Dirk Nowitzki and Steve Nash at the same time?
Pretty
Not
good.
bad.
They probably should have played their whole careers together instead of Nash leaving to come here to Phoenix for a long time. Happy anniversary, 1984 NBA draft class. On this day, 41 years ago, Akeem went 1 to the Rockets, Michael Jordan 3 to the Bulls, Charles Barkley 5 to the Sixers, and John Stockton 16 to the Jazz. All 4 made the Hall of Fame on the very first ballot. Often forgotten is that the Rockets only had the #1 pick because they won a coin flip with the Blazers, who ended up taking Sam Bowie at number 2. One other player selected in the 84 draft made the Hall, Oscar Schmidt of Brazil, the great Oscar, whom the Nets took in the 6th round of a then 10-round draft. Oscar opted to play in Italy instead, Frank.
I was researching this today because I got a chance to meet Oscar Schmidt. Do you know that in '96, you covered his last ever international game? It was at the Olympics. You wrote a really good story about it. You should go look it up. Oscar Schmidt was an unbelievable player. Should have played in the NBA.
I was at a historic game he played in '87 when he led the Brazil national team over the United States.
Him and Marcel Souza. Remember him?
That's right, Marcel Souza.
We're piano players.
Trails,
we don't carry them.
Arkansas. The Razorbacks went up 5-3 on LSU in the bottom of the 9th last night with a trip to the Men's College World Series Finals on the line, but with 1 out in the bottom of the frame. Arkansas misplayed a grounder to first, 1 on. A check swing ruling put another Tiger on. A grounder to the left side might have turned 2 and into the game, but the Arkansas shortstop forced the lead runner at third instead. Luis Hernandez then hit a liner to left that could have ended it.
Yeah.
But left fielder Charles Delavan slipped. The ball caromed off his shoulder. Tie game. Jared Jones then walked it off with a single off the second baseman's glove. Heartbreak. LSU, 6-5, advances to take on Coastal Carolina in the final.
You said it, heartbreak. The hardest outs to get are those last three. Those were tough plays in the field, but makeable plays. You got to make those plays. Man. You're in the World Series.
It's tough to watch, and I watched some of that. Let's go to the big finish real quickly. 5-time Pro Bowl linebacker C.J. Mosley retires from the NFL. Wow, how are you going to remember his career?
And he announced it on his 33rd birthday. Remember, won a national championship, 2 national championships at Alabama. The Rockets and Ime Udoka have agreed to a long-term extension. That makes sense.
Yeah, given what Udoka's done with the Celtics and now the Rockets, yeah. Especially that 2 seed last year. Real Madrid star Kylian Mbappe has been hospitalized with acute gastroenteritis. Your thoughts?
I'll tell you what, they struggled without him, and this tournament needs him. So Real Madrid really could use Mbappe. He'll play at some point. The Panthers reportedly damaged the Stanley Cup in their celebration. Big deal?
No, that's what they do. Every team does it. Last one, the Nats snapped their 11-game losing streak. Yanks, their 6-game losing streak this afternoon. Bigger deal, real quick.
It's the Nats. By the way, the Mets have lost 5 straight entering tonight's game against the Braves. We're out of time. Thanks for watching. I'm Frank Isola.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, knuckleheads.
I don't remember what happened in 2021.
I don't even know what y'all talking about. We turn it over to Mike and Frank with tonight's PTI bonus topic.
Okay, Frank. What would an NBA title mean for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander?
I think it puts him, in a different class, and let's take it a step further. If he ends up being Finals MVP, that's something that's only happened 15 times before. Michael Jordan did it 4 times. LeBron did it twice. Bird, Magic, Kareem, they did it 1 time. Tim Duncan did it once. So right away, you're in a different stratosphere. But for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to have the regular season that he did, 68 wins, and 1 more win here will give him 16 playoff wins. And 2 games are going to stick out for me. Game 4 on the road against Denver. They're in danger of falling behind 3-1. They're trailing in the 4th quarter. He was lights out. What happened in the NBA Finals? Game 4, 4th quarter, they're trailing. Again, lights out. So in big moments, he came through. So it's not just about these awards that he could get. He's delivered when it's mattered the most. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been a star all season. This just stamps him.
Yeah, it does. It gilds the resume, Frank. It does. Look, you can be a star. You can go on to be one later without a ring.
Yep.
We know that from our friends Reggie Miller and Charles Barkley and Allen Iverson. They're big stars and did not win an NBA title. But far from the stardom, which is like one club, there's another club and guys with that championship ring. I'm not even going to go to MVP of a series. I'm just going to go to winning a championship. It's something that when you see them, if you go to the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I know you've been, and the guys talk about winning a championship, and they've got whether it's just 1 ring or more. And we know in the NBA, like the NHL, the truly great players seem to win multiples.
Yeah.
And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is young enough and good enough to do that. Let me mention, he is not a what are you going to do for me kind of guy. Anybody paying attention this year, he is exactly what the NBA should want from its star and a champion. I mean, the guy is never, he doesn't exude any selfishness at all. No ego. What is it going to do for kids in Canada who want to grow up to be like, play like, sound like, look like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And he is leading an army of young, great, talented Canadian basketball players. The lower 50 better watch out for that group coming when we get to future Olympics if that trend continues. But Frank, he seems to be a young man who has it all.
Yeah.
And if he gets this championship, whether it's tonight or Sunday, he's going to have it all.
You know, the Lakers have made a lot of news in the last 48 hours, but remember, Oklahoma City's not going anywhere. They got young players, they have assets, and they have SGA. That's it. We're done. Back to you.